Hello and good evening, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday evening here in Miami, Florida. I'm Suzette Speaks. I'm here today with a very special guest for the very first time. He hasn't even come up on no panels, y'all. I am so blessed to have this gentleman with me tonight. His name is Mr. Ike Ogiamian, and he has his own YouTube channel. But more importantly, he is going to deal with a tough topic. I want to talk to y'all tonight about stress. I don't know if you feel stressed out, but as I say often on this show, I try to bring you topics that I'm dealing with myself. And I know many of you had messaged me and kind of sent me love when I had to take a week off earlier this month. But it was really because I had so much on my plate. Sometimes your schedules get so busy. Sometimes you are so many things to so many different people, like my guest as well. Sometimes you get caught up and you need a break and you need to step aside and you need to take a breath. So, we're going to talk to him tonight about stress management. I know adulting is hard. If you feel like adulting is hard, you're in the right place. I know sometimes if you are by yourself, like myself, I don't have a family yet, I still feel stressed out. People who are your clients, people who are your loved ones, family, and friends can stress you out. But my guest is also a dad. So he has now added to his plate family pressure, spousal pressure. There are so many things, even during this pandemic, that we learned about stress, that we learned that we should and should not do. But oftentimes, I realize people are very stressed out, y'all, but they hide it. They hide it very well. And I don't know if you're one of those folks, but I tend to do that. I can be very, very smiley in one moment and then really like sit in my car and tears come to the side of my eyes because I'm stressed. I had a moment like that not too long ago. As I said, I was rocking like too many different jobs. Y'all know how we Jamaicans do sometimes. Y'all, okay, no stereotypes. But, I am a TV host. I am an attorney, a YouTuber. And I have a lot of hustle in me. And sometimes, again, when you're not careful, you lose you. When you're not careful, you wake up and you realize, oh my goodness, there's a part of me that is just totally and completely overworked. And do you surrender to it? Sometimes we believe that we have to push through the pain and push through it. Other times, I sometimes feel that, your body tells you, right? Sometimes we get very scary reminders, a la, medical conditions, heart attacks, strokes, all types of, skin rashes. I know people who get ulcers and all kinds of things because of stress. So we want to offer you some value tonight during the Suzette Speak Show, talking about stress management, again, with my special guest, Mr. Ike Ogiamian. I'm really grateful that he made time. Let me just say a quick hello to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to bring him right on. Shout out to everybody watching on Facebook. And if you're watching Team Replay, you know what to do. Hit the like button. We're going to give you good information here on the Suzette Speak Show. I know a lot of entertainment is, strictly based on, what's going on in music and, the pop industry and stuff. Here, we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. So if you like intellectual conversations where people share their personal stories and offer, what should I say, perspectives that you can learn from, this is the place for you. I want to welcome my new subscribers. Anyone new here, hit the like button, drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. It's the Suzette Speak Show. I go live mostly every Monday, Tuesday. This Thursday I won't be live, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So 4 days a week, you can catch me on these YouTube streets. I do have a show on Saturday with none other than Mandrell and Shushu. We're going to be talking about, is your life right now recession proof? Again, we talk about issues that I'm worried about. Listen, the grocery bills are crazy. The gas prices are crazy. So what can we do? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then next week, I have a fantastic guest as well. I mean, not that Mandrell and Shushu are not fantastic. They are too. And as well as my guest tonight. But I have Roxy Beckles coming on next week, Tuesday. I can't wait to have her on. She's a former Miss Olympian. She has competed in bodybuilding. We are just deciding on the subject matter. But I'm really excited to have Roxy. So I have some wonderful guests lined up. Go back and watch a few shows. Get a feel for who I am. And I really like, conversations that are an expression, as I said, of challenges that I too face. I think sometimes people see you nice and try to be cute anyway up here on YouTube, and like we ain't got no problems. Everybody got problems. Everybody has problems. Everybody has their own degree of problems. The most perfect looking people, y'all hit the like button. The most perfect looking people got stress, got issues, right? It might not be the same stress that you have, but they too have stress. So I want to use this conversation as a reminder as to how we can better manage stress. We're going to get some helpful tips from our guests. Are y'all ready? Hit the like. First of all, get them likes up so I can bring my guests on. Again, tonight, we're all talking about stress. We're not trying to stress you out. We're trying to elevate you, right? Through helping you understand better what you could be doing about stressful situations in your life. Let me say hello to my people before I bring up my guests. Hey, everybody, welcome. It has been a minute. I had a wonderful show, first of all, last night. Thank you so much to Savior Black, talking about Juneteenth, but we got into a whole Black history thesis. Thank you very much. Savior Black knows so much about the Black American experience. I'm curious to know, because I really don't know my guest like that. So I'm curious to know a little bit about his experience. He has a wonderful accent. I love it. And I'm going to get into his platform and what he does over here on YouTube. But in the meantime, let me say hello real quick to RM. How are you, Tobias? Nice to see you. Go watch that show we did with Tobias the Traveler. How he becoming a high value man. It was a really great show. Ike, what's good? He's already in the chat. I love it. I love when my guests are already in the chat. Danny G said, let's go. Fire, fire, fire. Let's go. Sunbreeze, good to see you. RM says, happy belated Dad's Day, Sir Ike. Fantastic. Yay, Jeremy. I haven't seen you in a minute. What's up? Yes, thank you, Jeremy. Says congrats on the 4K. We getting there. It's going up and down, but I'm like, Lord, you got me. People want good shows and good information. This is a place where we do original content that makes you think. So I hope you enjoy. All right, Kevin Samuels had a theme song really for him on this show. I missed that for sure. Oh my goodness. I hope he tells me about it. Kinetic says, hi, vibrations to all. He was also on the show last night about Juneteenth. Appreciate you, Gail. I missed your party. I missed your monetization party, but I got you, girl. Don't think it was a lack of love. I was with my niece, but congratulations again on getting monetized. That's a really big deal. So proud of you. We'll talk offline. Good to see you, girl. And Rosalind, nice to see you. Proud speaker from NYC. If you're a subscriber, did you hit the subscribe button? If you're a subscriber, you are one of my speakers, the Suzette Speaks speakers, right? Because we speak our mind over here. We speak truth over here, right? We speak love, right? And we try to uplift through our words. So we're going to do that tonight. Hopefully y'all get some value. I appreciate, hey, Miss Creative. All right. My respect, says Daddy G. So we ready. Are you ready? I, without further ado, would like to bring up the man of the hour. Without further ado, please welcome for the first time to the Suzette Speaks Show. Suzette Speaks Show. Can I get it out? Mr. Ike Ogiamian. How are you, Ike?
I am doing well, Suzette. How are you? How are you doing?
Fantastic. Oh, yeah, I had to go a little extra, y'all. Y'all see him. Y'all see him. He clean. Hold on, let me get the solo shot so they know. Let me see. Hey, beautiful setup there, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I am grateful that you made the time. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. And we are going to start with, I guess, introductions. Would love to get a little bit more info about who you are. Again, this is our first time even talking, y'all. So I'm going to be learning about him and from him right along with you. But let's start with, I guess, what you do first and foremost here on YouTube.
Well, what I do on YouTube is talk about being better and doing better. Okay, that's what my main channel is about. And there are two separate, let's just call it inside and outside, right? Uh, Outdoors, we're talking about the economy. We're talking about the fact that whatever social structures may be out there are not what they used to be, whether it be things such as your retirement or the dating and mating market, for example, right? Those, shall we say, guardrails that were out there, the strictures, the things that told you what to do, what to value, and how you would be valued for doing what you blah blah blah. Right? The rules of the game, if you will, have definitely changed recently. So
Changed.
that's not that's not saying anything
Out the
new.
window.
Exactly. So that creates a set of challenges for people, right? Psychologically and also economically. So basically, that's what I talk about on my channel, and that dovetails with our topic today, which is dealing with stress, which is more of the internal side. But again, being better, doing better. I lay things down in a very simple, measurable, intuitive way. Hopefully, that's my claim, anyways.
I love it. So, a man after my own heart, helping people be better, do better, live better is what we do over here too. So, I'm excited. All right. So, there's alignment there. Shout out to Sunbreeze again, was my sponsor for last night's show. Yo, yesterday's show surprised me in so many ways. I just want to say a special thank you all to everyone who contributed to the show. Surprised me, opened my mind and my heart in another way, both through the conversation and through the generosity. So thank you everybody that helped to just bless me yesterday. Shout out to Rose. Nice to see you, girl. How you doing? Gail, again, thank you. How are you? Wonderful. Blessings to you. All right. So, Mr. Ike, we're gonna talk about stress, but I want to ask you, are you stressed in your life? Do you feel stress?
Hmm. 100%, right? And
100%. I do too. Join the club. And
uh,
what stresses you? What stresses you in your life?
okay, so let me take a step back and put it this way, because so stress is a fact of life if you are indeed alive and living. Because the opposite of stress is atrophy, as far as with biological systems go, right?
Mm,
If you wrap yourself in bubble wrap and put yourself on a couch somewhere and leave you there for a couple of months, it's not going to be good for you, right?
yes.
So actually, the process of, let's say, growing your muscles, or growing the density of your
Mind,
bones, or your
everything.
mind,
Mhm.
immune system, it all involves stress. It all involves rubbing against the environment or pathogens or whatever it may be, and then learning, right, through losing a few soldiers out there, and then re-aggregating or recongregating, blah blah blah, right? So that's the
I
nature
like the metaphor.
of
I like
stress,
it.
right?
Yes.
It's always there. It's like the table. It's always loaded. But the question is, how well constructed is the table, right?
Mm,
If your table is well constructed, maintained, and all that stuff, then yes, the legs are stressed. They're feeling the compression. Let's say if we now move into this, shall we say, physical example, right? There's compression in the legs. The floor is also taking the weight as well. But if the floor is well constructed and well maintained, it's not a problem. As a matter of fact, we like to see things function. We talked about the biological systems and the fact that stress is the way in which they function, grow, and thrive. Otherwise, they atrophy. So it's a fact of life. There's nothing you can do about it. As a matter of fact, that's what you want, right? The question is, well, how do you make that table withstand the stress? How do you make, in your case, your organism handle the stress? Now, what stresses me out, um, given that context, right? It's the fact that I'm a busybody. Okay, not to put words in your mouth, but I'm glad that's a paraphrasing of something that you said regarding yourself. You go, go, go. You're out there. So like, I start things, and then thank God I don't stop them. It's like, because some people start many things and then they stop. I don't stop. Right. That's the thing. That's like, I started a band. I'm still doing the music thing. I
what do
started
you
my
play? You
company.
started a band?
Yeah, like um check out my band. Okay, RM. Go out there and drop the
Hold on,
Spotify
hold on.
link.
We getting right to the topic, but it's some curiosity you've just brought to your own life. So you have a YouTube channel. We've established that. And tell me more about you. Where are you from, and what do you do? Can I ask you?
I'm I was born and raised in Nigeria,
In
right? That's
Nigeria. Cool.
West Africa, right? And I came over here when I was 17, almost 18. So more or less from college time, right? And I
Okay.
came by winning the green card lottery. Okay, so, and it was total by chance. Didn't even really recognize that I was getting that. I just remember being told, take a photo, a picture, and sign this thing, blah blah blah. And someone mailed it out, whatever. And then what do
You
you
hit the
know?
lotto. You came to America or UK or where first?
America.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so it's the green card lottery, the diversity visa, whatever people might know what it is, right? So that's how I came over here. I came alone. I was here. I was in New York first, and then
Mm,
came to California. Went to college for engineering. Um,
nice.
Graduated right during that recession, 2008, right? So, and by the way, worked through college and spent a lot of time, getting that degree. By the way, and it wasn't just because of the work. The work was not about the excuses, but the point is, I did take my time in college and had a good time while while being quote unquote
We
free
don't
out
judge.
here,
We don't judge.
while being free out here,
Yeah.
and graduated in 2008. Economy crashed. Went back and got my master's degree in structural engineering. Um, been a bridge engineer and all different kinds of engineers until about 2014. I started my own company. It's called Prometheus Engineering, specializing
Wow.
in structural engineering, but in seismic zones. So California, Washington, Oregon, areas of high seismicity, right? Blah blah blah. And I do that for commercial, no, not really commercial. Let's just say industrial and manufacturing facilities. So things like data centers, um, uh, biochemical facilities of all kinds, refineries, whatever it may be, right?
So
So
you structure those buildings?
yeah, so especially
Wow.
yeah, it's not as complicated as it sounds. I like to just say that
You
I
picked
make
a
sure
good
things
major.
keep their shape.
I love it. No, get money. Engineering, stand up. We love blurs over here. We love blurs. So let's go. That's very interesting. So, can I ask you how you met your wife?
I met my wife in Ghana.
No
Uh,
way.
I happened to be there for my brother's wedding.
And you met
This
her at a
was
wedding?
I didn't meet her at a wedding. I was I met her at a function at the hotel I was staying at. Uh, she runs
Who
like a
made the first
charity.
move? You or her?
That's always it's like an infinite regression there in terms of like
It's debatable. She says you did, and you say she did.
I would say I did, but I'm like, oh, you know, you didn't make it hard, that kind of stuff, right?
Hold on, you stuttering over there, bro. You stuttering. Hold on. So how first moves went? Y'all dance or something?
um, charity event, right?
Mm.
So, you know, she's there. I notice her. I walk over. I'm talking to her about her charity, this and that and the other. I'm talking about myself too, and saying, yeah, okay, I'm here, and here's my card, and all those other kinds of things. She reached out back afterwards, sent an email saying, "Oh, that was nice meeting you," blah blah blah. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Well, what's the? I called her rather than respond to the email, and want to meet up for basic stuff, right? And the rest is history.
Awesome. So it was like a networking, hit it off kind of moment. Oh, I love it. No, I'm always curious. I'm sorry to be all up in your business, but I'm just a curious
All good.
person. But when you see people who are successful, meet and marry, I'm always really curious about how that happens and how who approached who and what the game was like. Okay, but I got the business card. Okay, cool. So back to the subject matter, which is you're having many different interests, it sounds like, and you were telling me that you are kind of I wouldn't say spread out. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say spread thin. You tell me. You
Mm.
say you have a lot of different interests. You have your own company. Is it a company that like contracts with just private companies? Do you also contract say with government entities and things like this?
Um, it always comes down to some kind of a contractor, right? Because government entities will be using contractors, right? So I'll be contracting with the general contractor in that case, right?
So like a
So it'll be some
subcontractor of these
uh,
bigger. Okay,
exactly that
get
kind
money.
of deal.
It is all good. That works. A lot of money is given out to one big contractor, and then it's divvied apart to various contractors. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about him. And sorry, I was reading this. It says, "Were you awkward when you approached Miss Ike?" I got him sweating. Yeah, oh poor thing. Were you
Um,
awkward?
that's no, but that's a good. Let me phrase that. Let me rephrase that. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm naturally like I'm an introvert. Okay, I keep to myself. The kinds of things that I like to do are, shall we say, solitary activities. They, whether it be the writing of the songs or the perfecting whatever crap I'm perfecting, right? um, and naturally, I like to keep to myself. I recharge by myself, but I'm also a performer, right? So I mentioned the whole music thing that I do. So I'm the front man of a band, right? So there, the whole communication thing for me is a skill that I've learned over time, right? And communication, sales, influencing, all that stuff is a performance. Whether you're having coffee with your mom, right, or you're giving a full blown kind of sales speech to kind of save your life, it's all a performance. Or you're singing and dancing, or communicating right now on YouTube, right? There's a performance aspect to it. So to answer your question, the answer the question adequately, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say I was awkward, but I'm very calculated and that kind of thing. It wasn't like a natural thing. Like it would have seemed like, oh, smooth and natural.
Ah,
But no, it was all very well scripted,
I
programmed.
love it.
I'm doing all kinds of voodoo.
You're so funny, y'all. We're here with Mr. Ike Ogiamian, and he's giving us a little bit of his personal story. I always think it's great when people can like ground us a little bit more as to who we are and a little bit about where we're from, so we can understand their perspectives more. And I'm grateful that you've kind of given us a peek behind the curtain, even with how you met your wife. Thank you. That I didn't mean to digress that much, but I enjoy, just getting to know folks. So appreciate him being here. But his topic of the hour is tips for managing stress. So I was asking him what stresses him out, and he was telling me a little bit more about his life being busy. And I was curious as to a little bit more about what is on your plate. So
Mhm.
you were saying you're a bandsman, you're in a band.
Yep,
So
I'm in
I
a
was
band.
curious, with all that engineering prowess, when you got time to be playing in a band and whatnot. But how
Yeah,
did the band start?
the band started so like right after college. Well, I've always been into writing, right? So naturally, now I'm an engineer, but I would say that I have this huge artistic inclinations as well, right? So
Sounds
whether
like
it be
me. Oh my God,
writing,
we're very similar. Sorry to interrupt. We're very
okay,
similar in that. I'm a lawyer, but I'm very creative.
well, there you go. So you understand,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Writing or drawing or singing, dancing, music, whatever it may be. But one of the things that I'm particularly good at is the whole writing thing, wordsmith, which many musicians. It's one of those gifts things where you don't have to like work on it, like learning how to play your guitar, right? And speaking of which, I made a great guitar player. Okay, towards the end of college, I'm bringing in this particular skill which I have, which turned out to be songwriting, which is just another way of. I started out writing hip hop a while ago, right? This is just teenage years, all that kind of stuff. So I learned a lot, which is because hip hop is one of the most difficult things to write. Think about it, 16 bars per verse, which is 16 bars could be like two other songs for other genres, right? So, and then you have to be, shall we say, witty and all these other kinds of things with hip hop, right? So, but the band that I started was a reggae band. Now, how do I have total cultural appropriation, Suzette? I
Hold
totally
up. Wait there.
jacked, jacked your people.
Wait there. Not my peoples. Not my peoples. You into reggae?
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah. I mean, because growing up in
Wait.
Africa
Roots
again, I don't.
reggae? Like
Pardon me.
one drop?
Yeah, I do. Well, dance hall or roots reggae, one drop, all that kind of stuff. Like again,
Wait. Ike.
RM drop the music.
Hold on. Please pause. If anyone who is my speaker, what kind of music do I like, y'all? I love some dance hall reggae.
All
So are
right,
you
all
talking
right.
about classic dance hall like 80s or even 90s or 2000s? Do you mean modern dance hall would y'all play, or what are you playing like Sean Paul? Like what are you playing?
Oh, when you say okay, all I always played original stuff, right? Like
Mm.
my stuff. Now, why? It's just because I that's what I like. Well, not just because that's what I like, but because I actually am into the writing of music, the creating of music. I'm not just as I was saying, I'm not necessarily an instrumentalist, not a great one anyways, right? I'm not formally trained musically, but I know how to write good songs.
Do you play an
And
instrument?
I play the keyboard, but it's more like a studio thing. There's a difference
Oh,
between,
gotcha.
you know, playing in the studio versus playing live. Just there's a big difference. But um, it was an easy transition with African background. I can kind of do different kinds of accents and the whole rhythm and the flow. All that kind of seemed natural to me, anyways. You know, so kind of went into that. But what kind of okay? So let me give it just like let's say one of my verses for one of the dancehall tracks, right? Just kind of the standard kind of with the we need more Jah in our life. Tell them no more soldier in our life. Give them the peace. Say no more war in our
Hey,
life. So far
hey,
in our
hey.
life, I say put away coca in our life. Open the marijuana stripe. That kind of stuff. Come Mr.
Ra, ra.
Gonzalez and sip wine to celebrate the ital bliss. I annihilate the thorny vines and dwell within the highest grace. That kind of stuff.
Wait. Two gun finger. Wait, hey. So you write those? Those are original lyrics? Fantastic. Wow.
So
Man of
those
many
are some of the
talents.
things that are filling my plate. the whole I also do I do selling of construction equipment, right? With outside of the engineering company that I talked about, right? So if you talk about the YouTube and the music and the construction equipment and the this and the that and the writing of books and the I'm also kind of like a student type, right? Like to study a lot of stuff. Some of my original, shall we say, interests are physics and philosophy. So all this stuff, plus the kid for you, you mentioned the kid earlier, right? Like you got a family and
My
all these other kinds of
God,
things.
on top of all this.
So people ask all the time, like, and people have always asked this, even in college, like, how do you manage your time? How do you stay kind of stress free and all that kind of stuff? But I already described that. Hey, stress is the way, right? It's just a question of how you set yourself up to be able to take it. And there's some outside things which I don't really matter that much in terms of what I'm calling outside things. Like is for example, like I gave up on TV years and years ago. So those kinds of things like television and even when it comes down to exercise and eating right, those are a given, right? And there's no need like if you're off the train on that one, everybody knows you need to get back on the train or struggle with that train. We all have our personal struggles with the diet, exercise, train, right? But there's one aspect there that I want to mention that's very important, which is the hydration, which is people tend not to understand
Hmm.
that hydration is one of or has one of the um, largest effects on your mood is how hydrated
I
you
agree
are.
with this. All right, y'all. So we getting into some meat and bones. I really appreciate Ike Ogiamian being here today. We're talking tips for stress management. If you are a busy person, I don't know. I was listening to it might have been NPR earlier today. I listened to radio or the podcasts while I work, and it was about people being passionate about their jobs and losing themselves in their jobs. And it was even very interesting to me that in this particular gentleman's case, he learned that when you are passionate about your job or your boss or your manager might think it's okay to exploit you. So the people who are really passionate, the people who are super super into it, they often get more work. Y'all hit the like button. They all often get more. Like he got transferred from his job managing like 20 people to like managing 90 people because he just loved the work and the management knew that he was so good at it and that he enjoyed it. So I imagine, and he had a heart attack,
Oh,
mind you. So he got that, like I said, lifestyle wake up call, that full fledged, this is stressful to you. You have been
mm,
probably saying it, you think it, but then your body will say, we got to slow down here. So I think about what you just said as a structural engineer, as a creative, when I hear the metaphor now, as far as load management, I hear it through an engineer's lens in terms of how you make buildings, how you make things happen, how you structure um, actual, what were we saying, like chemical plants and things like that, industrial plants, it
mhm,
sounds like. So now I'm like, okay, I get what he means when he says everything is designed to hold some stress, but it's what that foundational uh, structure can do with it. And I love that as a metaphor. I'm thinking about a quote I read that said, ships are safe in the harbor, but ships were meant to sail.
mhm,
So many of us sometimes, and it's good, I think we're opening up the conversation. Y'all hit the like button, that life is going to bring you stress, especially in America. I don't know where everyone else is watching from, but especially here, we cannot avoid it. It's about setting the foundation of our minds and our bodies. So I am grateful, just hearing you kind of reiterate this, and I hope we give you guys some good tips and some reminders, even because some of it we know, but we just don't apply. And sometimes we get that wonderful reminder, and it's a sign, y'all get back on it. But hydration, as he's talking about, I can attest, Ike, myself.
mm,
When I am thirsty, when I am low hydrated or non-hydrated, I don't know what is that. Low on hydration. I feel weak. I feel tired. I feel moody. And I'm glad you're speaking to that, because a lot of us sometimes we don't realize how much water we really should be drinking. If I had my water bottle handy, I'll show you guys. I bought 2 water bottles and I fill them up every day twice. So I
mhm,
think that is a gallon. For
mm,
a woman my size, that's a lot of water. And I don't drink the whole 2 times. I at least drink 2 solos. And then the extra, like that's probably half a gallon. And then I try to do 2 more. But for me, skin wise,
Hmm.
But energy wise, sometimes when I'm tired, I'm like, let me take a B vitamin, and then I'm like, let me drink some water. Let me drink some
Hmm.
water and see if that can pump me up. Especially when you're dragging in the afternoon, that afternoon long haul sometimes can have you feeling really out of sorts. So
Hmm.
hydration for you looks like what?
Hmm. So I'm constantly. I've never been a. Do you cook, by the way, Suzette?
Say it one more time. So I
Do
was
you
looking for
cook?
my water bottle. What?
I'm sorry. Do
Go
you
ahead.
cook? Do you cook?
I do. I cook for
Okay, cool.
myself. I eat out a lot though, but I'm
So
probably 50-50 in my week. Hmm.
good. And the reason I'm asking that is because I cook too as well. Or I could call myself a chef too, as long as one of those crazy things that I do. But in my cooking, I've and also in many other things that I do, I tend not to be a measurer of things. I'm sure you understand there's a difference between people who measure things and people who kind of go by feel and by kind of more intuitive with the whole deal. Same thing with my hydration, right? I drink. I wake up in the morning and I start drinking water as a routine because I know I need to do that. And I make sure that my urine is clear all day. Basically, is the barometer that I'm using, right? So I always have this here regular water, and then I got my sparkling water. I just finished this one, my Perrier. I always have. I like sparkling water a lot, so I always have jugs and jugs of Perrier everywhere. I don't. I and then I watch other things that I drink because being dehydrated is number one, taking in water, but number two, watching the other things that you take as well. Because if you're taking sugar, sugar takes water out of your system because the sugar needs water in order to be digested. Same thing with salt. We all know the osmosis game, right? We all know that basically sugar or a lump of sugar will you put a lump of sugar on top of this thing here with water, it'll just suck it up, right? It'll take it up. Same thing with, there you go. Same thing with salt, and same thing with the kinds of things that I'm eating. So I'm always monitoring what did I just take in and how much water do I need to kind of dilute it, get back, and then next time I go to the restroom, I make sure the urine is clear. That's kind of my system. And it's continuing with the physical analogy, we were talking about the structural analogy, right? If you go into, like, let's say, well, let's just talk about you. We're mostly water, right? So let's not overcomplicate it, right?
Absolutely. Human body is mostly water. You're 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there are many ways which we could kind of twist ourselves into saying the same thing, but we're mostly water. And before you go try to put a jet engine in your car, you want to make sure that at least it has water. The check engine light is not on, the brake fluid is there, the oil fluid is, all those other things, the radiator cooler and all these things are working, right? So for me, those are the basics, but the number one of the basic is water. And then you have to check things such as you have to stretch. Free range of motion of your muscles is a key aspect of relieving stress. We all know that the stress gets stuck in there in the places that are kind of without the range of motion. And then we stretch it out and we roll it and we're like, we feel better, right? So chronic stress is stored up in your not stretching and you not letting those muscles, right, do the
Mm-mm.
thing that they're supposed to do, and those tendons and stretch out. That's very, very important before you go thinking, oh, like you were saying, oh, let me take B vitamins or let me go drink some coffee. It's like,
Yeah.
well, the car doesn't have any water in it and there's no
Perfect.
oil in it and you
Not,
haven't
I
let
don't
it
drink from this
run,
one.
and but you
I
want to
don't like
go.
how I look when I drink from this. I actually have a pour in a glass and then drink it from it. But if I'm by myself, I just put this to the head. And these are easy. I carry it around. It has a little thing on it, little hoop. And it makes me like take it with me. And it has a little sleeve that keeps the water cool if I'm in my car. It's fantastic. And they were like, lock in on hydration. I agree. Sometimes when I wake up, it's not so clear. Let me just put it like that. And I'm like, oh, I got to get that water going. People, you're supposed to really wake up, drink a glass of water before you eat anything. Drink a glass of water. It's a constant struggle, guys. But in a good
And
way. I
also,
don't want
just one thing about
to
that
go ahead.
before you eat anything, when you think you're hungry, right? You know what I'm about to say, right?
Drink water first.
Yes, most likely. If you're in the Western world, okay, and you're not in any kind of famine region, okay, recently or anything like that, it is more likely that you're thirsty than that you're actually really hungry, right? So when you feel
Absolutely.
that, and your body doesn't know the difference, that's why it feels the same. So
Yeah.
just drink water. I usually give myself about an hour. If I feel something and I'm like, okay, cool. Have I been drinking water? I know, and there are other ways of checking, right? Like from your lips, you know how hydrated or dehydrated you are, and all these other
Absolutely.
things as well.
No,
So
absolutely.
drink water, allow yourself an hour to like drink like 3 glasses or something, and then if you still feel hungry after that,
Then
then
you're
you can
actually
eat.
hungry.
But I'm
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Your boy, your homie, I should say. Dr. Thunder came through. How are you, Doc? Nice to see you. You guys do a show together on Sundays?
Correct. We do a Sunday show on 4 p.m. Well, 4:30 Eastern or something like that, or is it
Yeah, I've been
4 p.m.
wanting
Eastern?
to come, but tell us about the Sunday show real quick.
Case closed. It's a panel show. It's a topical show, meaning that we take things from the media landscape, from popular culture. Like, so let's say we're talking about Jordan Peterson and what he may have tweeted last week, or the Supreme Court justice nomination. Last week we talked about Father's Day and are fathers overrated? Is what we asked and we discussed. So
Some
it's a
deep
topical show.
conversations with some, and
Yes.
it's men and women. I have been a guest, I think, once before, I think, and I want to go back. Sundays are usually my family days, so when I'm available, I will definitely be over there with showing y'all some love. But yes, good
Thank you.
evening to the crew. Ike Ogiamian is here, sharing his tips for stress management. First was make sure you're hydrated. I think that's a big deal. Summertime, y'all, and then again, we are oftentimes seated. I don't know if you work at a computer. I'm seated a lot of the day. So I am always like, I don't feel hungry, but I can go get a snack. No, get some water first. And then see if you're actually hungry. I think that's a wonderful tip. And continuously, I think they have, if you Google, they'll tell you how much water per your body height and size or weight and things like that. But you were getting into stretching as another tip. So tell us about your stretching routine, I guess, or how you apply
Hmm.
that as a part of your stress management regimen.
Good. I have this pull-up bar, and I like to your shoulders. Stretching your shoulders is important, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think Joe Rogan likes to talk about, well, if you think about it, we come from apes, and you're supposed to be like swinging from trees and stuff like that. And you will find
Uh, that's my face. But go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you'll find that we don't really stretch, right? We don't do a lot of hanging, let's say, and pulling of this muscle, right? So I start with that. I do some basic yoga routine, upward dog, downward dog. They call it the whole vinyasa sun salutation, right? But there's some basic stretches that I do in order, and the key here is range of motion. I always like make sure every part of your body can do all the twists, turns, and whatever else is it needs to do and sustain, right? While you can still do all those other moves. If you cannot do it, it's akin
Yes,
to your engine not being lubricated, right? So
absolutely.
getting
First of
that
all,
goal,
just to
yeah.
prevent injury, you need to stress. I even told my trainer, I've been lifting more weight, doing a little bit more, I guess you would call it hit training, high intensity training, and I'm like, coach, I need to stretch. Like I leave the gym, just leave right after I stop. Like we do a little bit of a cool down, but we don't do a full stretch. And it occurred to me, I was like, I'm not gonna get no long lean muscles. I'm about to get thick uh chopper muscles in my thighs and my calves and stuff because I'm not stretching. But it occurred to me, I was like, ooh, I need to hit, hip flexor stretch and all these other things. And it feels so good when you just lay down or grab onto something and pull your arm this way, that way, and whatever. You just feel that sense of relief. And even if you did it for 4 or 5 minutes and it could just clear your mind and kind of center you again. But you sound like you have a whole yoga mat routine,
Yeah,
which
that's
I
because
think some people are on that level. Gail says she bought a standing desk. Great idea. I thought about it and a couple people have suggested to me here. I'm thinking about it. Um but yeah, to your stretching routine. So tell me, you say, is it daily? Is it morning for you? What is it like, and how do you incorporate it in your day?
it is daily, right? It is morning and as needed. Now, when I
Ah,
say as
okay.
needed
Yeah,
aspect, that takes us into perhaps we can segue into the other aspect here that is very important because
sure.
the outside aspect, as I'm calling it, is your body vehicle, your meat machine, right? Okay, it's got to be hydrated. Okay, it's got to be stretched and all these other kinds of things. Like, don't do the silly thing of getting a rocket engine on and putting it on your car when your car doesn't have the basics, right? Which is what we do when we wake up. Like, I don't feel right. Let me go take something, right? Rather
Yes.
than maybe I need to hydrate. Okay, start drinking, and hydration, by the way, takes time. So that's why I was saying give myself an hour. Like I usually give myself an hour to hydrate, and I'll feel better in an hour. And given the when you start doing that and you know that you're gonna feel better in an hour, it's easier to do, right? So you're like, it's gonna be about 3 glasses of water, one every
This
15
size
minutes,
glass or the
whatever.
tall one?
Um, tall glass.
I
I'm
can only
I'm
drink this.
yeah,
This be one
I'm a
for me.
big guy. I'm about 220 pounds, so
Okay, okay, okay.
and six whatever six 3.5, but
Oh,
my
you're a tall
scoliosis
guy. Goodness.
my
So you can
scoliosis
drink
took
those
half
tall
inch
glass
away
of
with
water.
me.
It makes sense now. Okay, I get it. I get it. Cool.
So
So
now,
3 glass of water when you feel thirsty, and then you stop, and then you say, "Okay, am I hungry?" That's what's up. That's really
exactly,
good.
and it takes about an hour, and I want to use the restroom. I want to go and check that urine first. Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but
All right.
going
Clear,
into
clear,
the
clear. Ike says it has to be clear. TMI says Dr. Thunder, but we got it. We got it.
but
Understood. Understood.
going into the aspect of so continuing with the stretching, right? And then
Right. Hmm.
I'm talking about awareness now of your body. Okay, this is the other side of things. I was talking before about just the body itself and the things that you have to do and all these external type of things, and that is the base of the pyramid. If you wake up and you don't know what's you're just kind of off, whatever. Start at the base of the pyramid. Start with, okay, how hydrated am I? Do I need to jump around a little bit, do some burpees, get the blood going? Because that's something else. There's circulation too, circulation, stretching, all these other kinds of things. Did I sleep well? So the
Yeah.
basics, right? Then there is the awareness aspect. Okay,
Hmm.
and what the hell is that? Okay. Now, this is the part I like to call it mastery of subjective consciousness, right? This
You
part is
said it
also
fast. Say it one more time. Mastery of, say it again.
subjective consciousness,
Oh, subjective consciousness. Got it.
which
Okay, go
is
ahead.
your consciousness. And that aspect is also 100% important in terms of stress management. Okay. You can
Mm.
do all these physical things. That's one thing. But the other thing is, take, for example, okay, let's say we just stopped and we took a deep breath. Like, what that gave you an inkling into is more awareness of your torso, the state of your body, how it's occupying space, how easy it feels or stressed it may feel. How easy was your breathing? Is it shallow? Is it not? All these other kinds of things. And that kind of awareness, okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
begins, it is 100% critical to the dealing with the manifestations of stress. Now, because stress manifests itself within your perception, right, as feelings, right? Within your perception, is going to be feelings in your body, and it's going to be maybe a stupid tape playing in your head, right? It's an annoying tape. Maybe it's an annoying tape about your boss, or an annoying tape about somebody that's driving on the freeway that is annoying you, an annoying tape about something annoying your mom said, right? But also in your body, right? In your muscles in your neck, in the temperature behind your ear, right? These are perceptible things, right? And your ability to actually be aware of these things is the difference between you managing and riding through that stress versus you getting into road rage, screaming at somebody, doing something stupid, clenching your teeth, making actually, because you already see the feedback loop. You can start with the image of your mom in your head saying something, and then now you're gripping the steering wheel. Is this a comfortable position? No. That's going to make you even more tense, and that's going to add more fuel to the fire in your head. And now you're clenching your teeth, and now you're cussing someone. I don't know. Now you're in jail, right?
Yeah, no, let me pause you if I may, because you said a lot there and we're getting deeper. Ace, thank you for capturing that. Mastery of subjective consciousness is what Mr. Ike Ogiamian is talking about. So I think we spent a lot of time here on the Suzette Speaks show platform talking about self-awareness. We really push that because the more you can understand yourself, the better you, I think, have in terms of outcomes in life. We are not picking the wrong person because of, you know, subconscious feelings that you have from your childhood. You're not going into, bad, I would call it even friendship relationships or, work relationships, you name it. It doesn't have to just be romantic relationships. Once you, and I've just tried this myself. This is how I know this, and I'm working on it. Once you can understand yourself more and why you do what you do, I think you are a better friend. You are a better, if you're married, a spouse. You are just a better creative, right, at your job and beyond. And you're able to deal with people better. I think a lot of times there's our locked up pain, locked up trauma, locked up just residual scar tissue on our souls is what kind of keeps us in bondage a lot of times, and we're not free mentally. So what he's talking about, I really resonate with, because I feel like even in my own personal walk, there has been a lot of baggage I've carried without even understanding I was carrying it, and a lot of it manifested in not very helpful or healthy ways in my life.
Mm,
So this can go across the board. We are applying it here to stress management, but this idea of your what we say subjective, because it's your perspective on you. I meet people all the time when they're telling me their perspective, and I'm listening to them, and I have a whole different perspective of what their life and their issues are. And it happened to me recently. I had a gentleman, and I get in the most random conversations in places, coffee shop, and you telling me all their problems, and I'm like, sir, you just need a therapist. And he's telling me how he's going to resolve this and resolve that, but I'm like, no, you need a therapist. I can't be the therapist for you. But it was very hard because he only sees himself. It's almost like he's in a little square, and there's this big old ocean and circle around him. But you only know what you know, which is you think you've identified all problems, all possibilities in that square, which you have. But you don't have an awareness of that bigger ocean, that bigger circle of possibilities beyond what you already know. So we are kind of delving into, uh, what should I say, creating a formula for how to awaken that muscle of
mhm,
self-awareness, or what he calls subjective consciousness, right? Thinking about how you're feeling and getting to which I say not really the bottom of, but trying to be creative and understanding what is actually causing me to be angry, what is actually causing me discomfort in this moment. Am I
mm.
really mad at the person on the phone, or am I mad because I didn't eat breakfast? Am I
Yeah,
really
and
mad?
yeah,
Go ahead, but
the
I'm
thing
feeling what
is,
you're saying. Mhm.
the 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 danger at this point is that it might seem to someone whom is not it might seem to the uninitiated that it is hyper intellectual, right? That I'm going to know all these things about myself, and I'm going to map out that, and I'm going to know the root of the cause of my particular. It is more of an acuteness of perception in the moment that is we're trying to train. We're trying to train a particular skill. There are
Okay.
three of them, but let's start with one of them. It's called concentration. Right?
Mm.
It's not a strange word, right?
Mhm.
We're
Mhm,
trying to
mhm.
train a particular skill that you use in real time to observe yourself, not some kind of big map of Jungian psychology with which you're going to organize your entire being. No, that's a secondary. That's a separate, shall we say, endeavor. But I'm talking about right now. That's why I said, breathe right now, and your torso right now is what you felt. Okay. And that is just one aspect. That's because the reason I talk about the torso is because that's where your feelings happen. I always tell people, you don't get angry in your pinky finger, right? It's
Deep in
all
your
up in here.
belly. You say
Yeah.
torso. Deep in
There,
your belly.
belly,
Yeah.
chest, this area right here, through the neck, and all these kinds of things. So the whole your physicality um, is always manifesting a default state based on the load that it's been given. Let's go back to our physical analogy, right? There is a right kind of a stance to take as a table or as a structure, either when you're taking gravity load or seismic load, whatever it may be, right? The same thing also occurs with our physical body, quite physically, directly.
Mhm.
This is not an analogy anymore, but there is a right way to stand, right? And when you see your shoulders start drooping, trust me, there is a feeling associated with that. And there's probably a mental picture going on in there. So basically, I talked about breathing, opening up the chest, standing tall, back straight, right? That kind of a stance is a good stance to take on the blow of a stressful situation, meaning to be alert, right? Let's say. if you do any kind of stage stuff, you know that your stance is very important in terms of dealing with the adrenaline rush. The adrenaline rush is the form of the stress in that moment, right? It's the form of your body's being, so again, everything is in the body, or I call it, let me introduce something else, okay? I talk about mastery of subjective consciousness. Your subjective consciousness is what I call fit. Feeling in the body, okay, we've already been talking about it, right? Image in the head and talk in the head, okay? I challenge you to find anything else that ever goes on in your life. That's the beginning and end of your any moment you're in. I, it's a combination of feelings in the body, image in the head, and talk in the head. Okay, cool. You want to be able to be observe these things, because then, Suzette, you're gonna have room, space between you, because you were talking about him being in a box and then we not seeing the outside. But guess what? When you watch the operations of the box, of the body, of you're feeling your ear get hot, and you're like, okay, air's getting hot. Okay, heart rate is going up, but I'm taking the right stance, right? I'm taking the right position. I'm making the adjustments, right? Just like a structure would, right? To take those things. And I observe those things. All of a sudden, I have space between them and myself. So it's not just me, quote unquote, in my feelings or in my head. I can now create a little bit of space. How? First thing, by developing this thing called concentration. And the breathing exercise is is a great way to start, right? And everyone has heard that before. Everyone has, oh, breathe in a paper bag, or take a deep breath. All these things, like, it's because it's a very simple access point. But it's what we typically do is like lifting a dumbbell once when it comes to this type of stuff. I'm talking about now you sit down and practice concentration the same way, formally, the same way you would practice, your weights, right? Where you sit there, you close your eyes, you take in breaths, you count the breath, you actually feel in your body, and then you can begin to develop this awareness of yourself. It's like you're developing a dashboard with gauges where this is my it's going to be different for different people. We all have our different problems, right? But you're going to be seeing these gauges, right? But by seeing, feeling them, and you're going to be less likely to be dragged by them, right? And it is in the dragging by them, and or in the not being aware of your posture, for example, not being aware of your breathing. So your breathing is now shallow. Your shallow breathing, posture is bent. These are chronic states that cause chronic problems. Because
Yeah.
along with that, we know cortisol is in the mix, right? Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do in order to take the load. It's like you don't have the right form for your dumbbell. We're saying the dumbbell needs to be carried. In other words, stress needs to happen. It's the system, is the way the world is. But you need to have the right stance, the right form. And these kinds of, and it goes with this awareness thing that I'm talking about. And just back to the one word which we're developing is concentration in this case.
Mm.
Concentration and relaxation. And they both tend to go hand in hand. In other words, if I tell you to concentrate, right, what you do is you try to relax, right? You're like, okay, all right, cool, let me concentrate. And then you're like, you relax, you loosen up. A sniper is very concentrated, right, but very relaxed. When you're doing free throws or something like that, you're very concentrated but very relaxed, because you're focusing what needs to be focused on, and everything is blurred into the background, right? So your muscles don't, your neck should be chill, your breathing should be chill, everything should be chill, right? And then you're concentrated, and in that state is where you create that space for yourself. Really is the argument that's going on, if it's making any sense.
Brother, so deep I had to pause because I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm here going like, so I put myself on mute so you didn't hear too much background amening. So I was just listening like, yeah, you're speaking my language. Thank you, Sugar Curls Salon, for the generous super chat. Appreciate you. She adds, mental and emotional health are so important. Cognitive awareness for how we feel and how we deal is very essential. I agree that breathing during stress helps greatly. Thanks for the great information. Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you supporting my content, supporting the channel. And she's in agreement with everything you said, Ike, because in my heart, I will take you back to like my law school days. I had a roommate in law school tell me about breathing. And of
Mm.
course, when we get ready for exam time in law school, oh my gosh, it's like the worst. Like you have to memorize so much stuff, and your body aches and your head aches. And I didn't even get headaches till I got to law school. Like so much pressure on one test. One test is like your grade for the semester. So I remember one lady, former roommate of mine, was like, "You need to breathe deeply," and I kept thinking, I don't even want to say it. That's for other people. That's for other people. That's not for. I was like, that's for other people. What are you talking about? And she was like, no, because I couldn't even sleep at night. I'm talking about wake up in your bed. I was having nightmares, all kind of stuff. And I remember her being like, Sue, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. And I just remember being like, oh, I didn't take it seriously. But years later, working at a
Mm.
firm, I remember being like, this can't be life. This can't be life. And I just remember trying that at my desk and like remembering her words of just breathe deep, 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 deep down from your diaphragm breath. And I'm a singer. I love to sing. I was trained. I was singing in high school. I also took private singing lessons as well, but I love to sing naturally. And that type of breath where you really are drawing on your lungs as an instrument, that deep for when you're gonna go big notes and things like that. And I remember in my bed doing that and like trying to breathe slowly out my mouth and in through my nose and deep, deep, deeper, deeper breaths. And I just remember it calmed me so much, both at my job and both at night. So there's something to this, 100%. Not saying there is, like I'm skeptical, but I was skeptical at first. I was kind of like, get out my face with that. Like, what are you talking about? But it ended up helping me. I was like, even
Mm.
now, if I get a little tense at night, just thinking about the day that, we kind of download our day and it starts to play what I should have said, what happened with this person, and it's like all over your mind. I listen to podcasts. That's my number one thing. And then I like breathe. So
Mm.
100% Sugar Curl Salon, right? This cognitive. So you're speaking of it from a very present framework. You call it concentration.
Yes.
I may be taking a longer view, but I'm getting what you're saying. You
Hmm.
say just in this moment being very present, figure out what are you reacting to? What is your body reacting to? And then
And if
try
it's too much,
yeah,
remember it's feelings, it's
yeah.
image, and it's talk. You can grab
Yes,
on. You
I
can
love
always
that
grab
fit.
onto
I'm
one.
still in that. I'm still in it. I'm still in it. Just let you
Go
know I'm
ahead.
still in it. Feelings from within,
Yeah.
where you said image in your brain and
Hmm.
talk
And
in your brain.
yeah.
That's so good. You made that up?
It's no.
I'm gonna give you credit though. I'm gonna give you credit.
If I mean they're if you want to go all the way back down to it, there are two schools. Either you're looking at the West and you're looking at the East. If you're looking at the East, it's that guy called Buddha, right? He was one of the best,
Are you a
and
Buddhist?
first. No, I'm not. But
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm in your business again. Sorry.
no, but you got to record. He was one of, at least from the East, and which was kind of the older tradition in terms of subjective consciousness stuff is heavily, shall we say, the technology of consciousness was
Yeah.
heavily concentrated on by people in the East, and he was
Okay.
one of the foremost and deepest psychologists, self psychologists of himself, Buddha, that is, and his whole everything I'm saying here really goes back to the
You can
things that
attribute it
he
to
kind of
Buddha. Okay.
elucidated, and the other traditions also in the West, by other people who might approach it from a different, and those would be the Stoics, right? But it's from a different
You
kind of
too deep, brother. All right. Go back to the east. Go back to the east. So you said there's
let's
five
get
people
back
in
to
the
the
east.
concentration.
You said
Okay.
five people in the east. So you give me Buddha. Who else would be? Give me a couple more.
Oh no, I said by people in the East,
Five people in
but
the east.
Buddha
Okay.
Buddha
My
started it,
bad.
and then it spread out to the different, like, let's say, you have the Zen Buddhism, which is the Japanese spin on it. They bring in the high level of discipline, sitting down, that austere look. That's the Zen Buddhism, and then you have like something else called like Vipassana, or the Dalai Lama,
Oh, okay.
that
Okay.
that side of things, and they're more concentrated on like service and certain other types of things. I'm being the kind of introverted, kind of self introspective type person I am. I kind of went more with the Zen Japanese type stuff, which is purely about going in there and
Mm-hmm.
developing, number one, concentration. And then the second thing I
Mm-hmm.
brought in was relaxation. And this
Okay.
relaxation is more on the level of what you would call equanimity. In other words, it's the kind of relaxation that you you get into when you're floating in water, when you're treading water, right?
Yeah.
It's not, yeah. So you where you actually have to give, right? That's the state you want to be in. Let me because you were talking about people telling you to breathe, or people may tell you
Yeah.
something about, let's say, your chakras and stuff like that, and then your eyes glaze over. And
Yeah.
I don't blame the issue that I find is because people don't bring it down to the brass tacks like I'm bringing now. I'm telling you words that are not strange, like concentration and
Right.
relaxation. I'm saying that you have feelings in your body. Well, surprise, right?
Yeah. No, I'm getting it. I'm getting it
Yeah,
though. It's helping us. It's helping us.
and all these kinds of things. So basically, there's a term that we use called the zone, right? Being in the zone, right? And you don't have to tell anybody that this is a good thing. Everybody, oh yeah, I would like to be in the zone. I'm so not in the zone right now. That's why I'm feeling stressed in my cool. Well, the zone is concentration and relaxation together. And when they've gotten to a certain kind of they snowball with each other. So think about it. You're concentrating, or let's say, for example, you start breathing and you're relaxing. This increases your ability to concentrate, as you said before, right? Clears your head. And as you can concentrate more, you can also relax more. Okay. And as you can relax more, you can concentrate more. So you can start from one end and get the other. You can start by concentrating, like let's say listening to a sound, forget breathing now. And then that can help you kind of relax. Because you're like, hey, let me listen. So you gotta like relax, right? And then that relaxation leads to concentration, blah, blah, blah. So basically, that zoneness can be developed, can be actually these two qualities can be
Yes.
trained just like the
Yes.
lifting again of dumbbells to get you in the zone when you would like to be in the zone. Now, when I say things like this, people may think, well, maybe not. Let me not go there yet. Let me not start with the pushback when no one is giving pushback yet. Let me.
Uh, were you expecting a pushback already? Well,
I know.
the speaker's gonna have something to say, and I appreciate coming up, Dr. Thunder and Kenardoc. I see you in the back. I'm just going to try to get to expound a little bit on what you just said because I find it very, very interesting. I've never really thought about relaxation as you describe it, like floating on your back, totally relax in your life, trying to apply that in your life, that type of feeling in your life, pairing it with what you said, relaxation and
Concentration.
concentration together.
Hmm.
Focus on the now in a relaxed state. I don't know. Can people live like that? That sounds so deep.
Yes, you can,
You
and
live like that?
the
I'm like,
yes.
my life feels more stressful than that. That
No,
sounds so peaceful. I'm like, how can people live like that if they're not like in a tribe in some mountain? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, how could they not? How can
okay.
you live like that?
Let me. We I my challenges here is I try not to. I'm trying not to intellectualize it per se.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to add this little caveat here, which might be an
Yes.
intellectual kind of like sidebar
Yes.
about the fact that there are like, everybody, for example, can run, but not everybody is Usain Bolt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some people have advantages in terms of this because I'm talking about a human attribute, a human skill. Okay, concentration,
Okay.
sensory clarity, and equanimity. These are the three, by the way. Now all three are out. Okay, one is concentration. The second one is this equanimity thing, which is relaxation. The third one is sensory clarity. Okay, and sensory clarity means the difference between, okay, so the state where you're unconscious and you're not sensorily clear at all is you're just angry, you're clenching your teeth, you're gripping the steering wheel, and all these things are happening, and you don't even know. Right? It's just
You're
you're
just
just like a
tight.
pawn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
It's
that
just
feeling. I've been
happening.
there. You're like,
Well,
why am I so my face
yeah,
like me, my eyebrow is furrowed. And I'm like, why is my eyebrow furrowed? And
sensory
I
clarity
remember
is
somebody coming to me, relax your face. Because
noticing
you're tense, but you don't even realize it. Yeah.
exactly noticing the furrow in your eyebrow, noticing the shallowness of your breath, because these are sensations, right? And we're typically not clear with them. So you can see how concentration, sensory clarity, and equanimity they kind of snowball. They go hand in hand with each other. The sensory clarity that you began to have when you took that breath was that sensory clarity of how you're basically your torso is right now. Okay. And all these things. And you can see that immediately once you have sensory clarity about yourself, you actually get relaxed. Okay. You said all this, Suzette. It wasn't even me. I didn't say it yet, but you said, hey, when I took those breaths at
Yeah.
night, it
Yeah.
relaxed me because
Yeah.
I could feel myself more, right? And I
Yeah.
was clear about, oh yeah, it's the shoulder.
Mhm.
There's something in the shoulder here, and this and that. So sensory clarity is the third aspect. But if we get back to the two things, which is concentration and relaxation, okay. Take for example, let's go back to because you're saying, can people live like that, right? Is it possible?
I'm
Is it
like, that's
possible?
that's Zen Buddhism for real.
But the thing is this. Remember, I told you that it is the same. It's what's going on with you right now. Like there's feelings in your body right now. There's image in your head and talk in your head right now. Okay, that is the storm. The storm could be particularly active in one area or not. It could be even be numbness because that's another thing. It's not always active that's bad. There's a certain sense of numbness that you also feel that's also bad. That you have to then go in, breathe, stretch, relaxing, and then find feeling back again or whatever it may be. Okay.
Bruh. Let me bring some of the gentlemen up because this is getting deeper. We over here living like a Tai Chi master right now. Let me bring sorry to interrupt your flow. Let me bring up Dr. Thunder and let me bring up Kenarda. Welcome, gentlemen. Ike Ogiamian is putting in work tonight. I am enlightened already. I hope you guys are enjoying the convo. Want to bring up some new voices, maybe that you can either agree, disagree, open us up to your experiences. What are you guys thinking about what you've heard already thus far? Kanardak, actually, Dr. Thunder was first in the back. Dr. Thunder, I'll start with you, please.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm all right.
Fantastic. Good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be had. What's happening, Ike? How you doing? Um, so, okay. So, goodness. So uh the meditation thing is interesting. And all of what Ike is saying, of course, I tend to agree with. The One of the things is that the uh so in monasteries in Christianity and Eastern Christianity, and Christianity actually is an Eastern religion, so you see a lot of the sort of there's a practice called hesychasm, which means stillness or quietness.
Hmm.
And there's another practice, uh okay, so prayer beads, so that's the Roman
Yeah.
Catholic thing. In
Hmm.
the East, it's knots, a prayer rope, and there's a
Yeah.
bunch of knots in the rope. And so the practice is as a mantra to say the Jesus prayer, and then you keep track of how many times you've said the Jesus prayer by by holding the prayer rope and moving to the next knot until you get to a marker. And when you get to the marker, you said the prayer 40 times or 100 times or whatever it is. So then you can be focused on the prayer, what the prayer actually is saying, what it means, but
Mm.
then also be keeping track of how many times you said the prayer. The Jesus prayer is, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner.
Mm.
Right. So that's the mantra. And early Christian monks would uh, they would try to get to this to the point where even as they're having a conversation with you,
Hmm.
perpetually the
It's already
Jesus prayer
playing
is going
immediately.
on in
Hmm.
their head.
Mm.
Right. And so often is the case that Christians sort of poo-poo the idea of like meditation or Eastern, meditative practices and things, and it's just because they don't know the history of their own religion. So
Mm.
I just wanted to throw that in there. Oh, well, the last thing I wanted to throw in there, and this has to do with uh, diet. Okay,
Hmm.
so on the church calendar, the Eastern in the Eastern Church, there are 30 weeks of fasting on the calendar. Each year includes 30 weeks of fasting. So the 30 weeks is so first of all, the kind of fast we're talking about, it's one or two fasts. One of them is a Daniel fast, and the other one is a complete fast. So basically just water. Okay. So the Daniel fast, that's every Wednesday and Friday, because Jesus was abducted on Wednesday and was crucified on Friday. And then there is like Advent, but that's what they call it in the West. In the East, we call it the Nativity fast.
Right.
Then, of course, there's Lent. Folks know about Lent.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 or 4 other short fasts. One of them is like a couple weeks. The other ones are pretty short fasts.
This is in the Eastern Orthodox tradition.
That's right.
Right.
But the idea is you're trying to train your body to have certain to expect certain things, right? So if you're going on a Daniel fast every week for 2 days, that does something to your body's chemistry. If you are going on extended fasts, like 40-day fasts a couple times during the year, that also is, that's teaching your body something, teaching you how to be aware of the way that your body feels even. So there's a bunch of stuff that's like built into that's like baked in the cake that we don't think about as being meditative, basically supporting all the things that
yes, like a meditative practice. I think there has been this kind of a disconnect, Doc, with Christianity and meditation, because it almost seems like that's not us. That's not our thing, if you will.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about in that sense of physical awareness through fasting and through repetition, a mantra, if you will, it is a part of our becoming. I love this adult supervision of our software programming for the body and for the soul. So we may not think of meditation, because I find that, again, in certain circles of Christianity, they're like, we don't meditate, we pray. I'm like, well,
I mean, you have Christians that will say, "Oh yeah, yoga. That's you're letting demonic spirits in and all this kind of crap." And it's like, dude, well, don't embrace the aspects of it that are that maybe have some maybe alien or to you kinds of beliefs or something. Don't embrace that. Just embrace the stretching and
you ain't gotta say nothing. It's true. I've struggled with that earlier. When I was much younger, I was like, I can't do yoga. That's not Christian. Literally, I thought that. Like in my 20s, I thought that. But it was I think it is, I guess, what brand of Christianity you follow can kind of sidetrack you sometimes from what is actually helpful.
All truth is God's truth.
Yeah.
All truth is God's truth. And that's not just like something to say. The purpose of a sort of canon or orthodox, right teaching, right doctrine, right practice is not to say this is all you're allowed to do. That's not the point of that. The point of it is to have something that is secure. And so long as you're not violating any particular principles associated with the faith, embrace whatever you will. Matter of fact, in the Catholic Church gets a lot of heat for this, sort of adapting and adopting certain local customs into Christianity.
Yeah.
But the reason for that is because all truth is God's truth. So if you discover something that, this is an interesting, this is cool, and it doesn't violate any of the, any of the doctrines or anything that we hold. So, hey, let's go ahead and deal with this. So, and that's kind of how I see all of the meditative stuff. And so I'll take whatever is beautiful, glorifies God. So,
Amen.
All right, thanks.
All right, you got me thinking. They say you come in, you do work, and you go. Thank you. Dr. Thunder's channel is in the chat, so please go subscribe. Thank you for coming through, Doc. You always give me some great perspective, especially from that religious framework. Thank you. Come back anytime. You know it. And hopefully I'll see you one of these Sundays.
All right, now.
Appreciate you. Always dropping knowledge. Dr. Thunder, go check out his channel. I'm like, now I got to rethink my whole value system and what I've been taught. Kenardoc, how do you feel about this whole stress relieving through concentration? Let me get it right. Say the words again, please. Like concentration,
equanimity, and sensory clarity. Equanimity or relaxation.
Yeah, but I like the relaxation better than some of those words. How do you feel about the topic? Go ahead, Kenardoc. How are you today?
How are you? Thank you for this topic. This is my language, Suzette.
Yay!
And Ike is the man. Let me tell you, I discovered him from Kevin Samuels, R.I.P. Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree 100% with everything Ike is talking about because
Mm.
I've been diving into this since I was 21 years old.
Mm.
And it has been a savior. It's been one of the best decisions of my life. I've
Wow.
screwed up as a professional, I've screwed up in relationships, I've screwed up with family. But when it comes to this, I
Mm.
don't want to say it's mastery, but everything Ike is talking about, game changer in my
Mm.
life.
How do you apply it? Tell me when you say that you feel like this is a part that you have mastered, part of your life. Explain that a little deeper in terms of what day on a daily to day basis, not on a kind of like an overarching basis. So you wake up, you doing something different than like the average person? Are you praying more or meditating more? When people make you mad, do you do something different than the rest of us do? What does that look like on in terms of like a daily application for you?
Well, one thing you mentioned was being present in every single moment. I tried to be more present, very much there, because then when you're more present, you don't lose anything. It's almost like, in terms of just the idea of your own energy and understanding how it works. I meditate every single day, sometimes for 30 minutes, sometimes for an hour, 10 minutes, just depends. I just go how I'm guided. And when it comes to situations that create conflict, I take that pause, process, and then respond or engage.
Mm, mm,
So it's sort of been this perfect template in terms of how to navigate through life's ebbs and flows. And we talked about this a little bit in the God episode, but
yeah, we
yeah,
we were really getting deep on is God still important? That was a show I did with Kanardak that you guys can go watch. So when you meditate, are you sitting in quiet? Are you listening to music? Are you saying something? Are you asking questions? How is meditation for you?
it varies depending on the vibration because I guess you could say I'm an empath. I pick up on things. Sometimes I'll do chants, whispers. Sometimes it will be silent and just breathe. Sometimes I'll focus on a particular outcome or someone else. It just varies. Sometimes I do it at home, sometimes at the beach. Every year on December 25th, instead of exchanging gifts and talking about Christmas trees, I'm on the shore of Santa Monica Beach
Mm,
for like an hour or two, just
isn't that
connecting
crazy?
to source. And I try to stay in alignment as much as I can. And I gotta say, you can have as many obstacles as life will give you, but by doing what Ike talks about, a lot of the results of these obstacles, they become illusions, essentially.
Mm. Yeah, I think it definitely allows you to regain perspective when
Hmm.
it comes to how important this anger is towards that person. How important is this destruction in my heart towards that situation or scenario? It when you slow down and you just like in the big scheme of things, how much is this argument going to change like my life for the better or my life for the worse? I think even this will make all of us better partners slash spouses if we are deeply concentrating and relaxing and focused. We're not so what should I say, difficult to deal with, and it's not the other person's responsibility to try to make us be present, to try to make us be relaxed, to try to make us have this awareness and this and deeper perspective as to what's going on within us. The Miss Creative, this is a great compliment. It says Ike is going to be the next Elon Musk. His level of intelligence is amazing. She didn't let y'all know. I'm sensing that too. And he has me curious. He has me thinking about this, Peter, the state of nirvana. Hey DL, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you passing through. Quincy says, especially as a black man, it's best to have great control of self. He keeps your life more peaceful. 100%. I think as a black woman, I agree. I concur. I think sometimes I've grown so much even in the last few years. Things that used to make me angry, ways in which I used to just sit on things
Hmm.
and hold them. Nobody would know about them, but they would be in here, on here, in my body, and just holding it. It just, it will manifest in all kinds of ways. Like I said, people get sick. People don't understand some of the origins of, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just, this is my own, non-scientific, study related, but I think stress is a cause of a lot of, physical ailments that people get. We live in a very high stress society. The cost of things, how we're looking at, where we should be, the competition, right? The social medialization of life, right? And it's just stressful. So I think a lot of times, if we're not careful to slow down, like we're trying to do here, and realize we can control a lot more how we process this thing called stress, regain some of that awareness piece, I think sometimes it will get the best of us. But we're doing some work here, gentlemen. Oh my goodness. I want to hear your response to what Kennard just said, and your thoughts. What do you think, sir?
No, a lot was said, both by Dr. Thunder and by Kennard here. So
Yeah, Dr. Thunder come in and out and drop some bombs and go.
But I think perhaps now we can start intellectualizing again, if you will, right? Because this is just the surface, right? This is just the beginning. But what we have seen so far is that if you're able to observe your subjective consciousness, which is made up of feelings in your body, image in your head, and talk in your head, if you're able to observe it, you can create space between that thing, which let's just call it the weather, the storm, you yourself, right? And the reason I like to call it the weather, by the way, is because it's a natural occurrence, just like the weather, right? And this thing, this organism with the pumping of the livers over there purifying the blood, and the heart is pumping its thing, and all these, the whole 99.99999% of you that happens, that is outside of your control, is doing its thing. But what you're trying to do is to create the observer. You want to become more of an observer of it, because that's the only way that you can create that space. It is a definitional thing. Once you observe it, you immediately create the divide. When you're not observing it, you're by definition caught in it, right? So that is that is what we've kind of seen so far, and that there are capacities, concentration, right, which you can actually develop. You can practice breathing. You can do other things, such as let me mention one thing, because you were talking about mantras and different things that you use. One concentration technique that I like to use, and perhaps we could all try together right now. Basically,
Go ahead.
and this one is great for actually, if you want to be sharp with your mind, helping for memorization and things like that. Because again, it's concentration is concentration is concentration. Whether you're sniping or free throwing or trying to solve a math problem, it is a very similar capacity. It is the same capacity, okay, that we're talking about, which is the capacity to relax away things that are not necessary and focus, right, on that which is necessary, right? So if you close your eyes and try to imagine a white background, a white sheet, right? And then start writing the alphabet on it. So write A and keep A, and write B, keep B, C, keep C, D, and try to see how many you can write and keep in your head. Sometimes you may stop at like, I'm able to get to F, but I was able to get to W today, that kind of thing. But you close your eyes and you try to create a clean slate, and then you start writing on this slate and keeping the letters in focus. Because what's going to happen is things are coming in, little butterflies are coming in and eating it up, or a fog comes in, blows away, fire, all these crazy things are happening, right? But you're like, it don't matter, I'm going to keep it clean. And it's not just, the alphabet is a simple one, but there are other things that you can imagine painting in this canvas. Because basically you can open up your mind and try to paint in there. You can already see with the kind of capacity you're
that was hard to
developing.
Do. That was hard to do.
And the thing is, you can get better and better.
I wanted to sleep as soon as I closed my eyes. As soon as I closed my eyes, I'm like,
oh, that's all good too. Because the thing about this whole the Zen way is, you stay up and you keep your spine straight and blah blah blah. But the thing is, if you practice a meditation and you take 2 breaths and you fall asleep, that's cool too. Just be consistent. Just keep doing it, right? Because the sleep is what you needed. Like,
Exactly. Clearly,
you
I
were
was
not
like, ooh,
aware, and immediately you were aware of when the body was like allowed itself to feel itself. Okay.
yeah.
Which is, but it is a basic need. It's almost like I do believe that it is a basic need of the body for us to feel it, right? And this is me just saying the same thing we've been saying all along, right? We've been saying, hey, when I finally took that breath and I was relaxed in my bed, and you were talking about that, what your roommate was telling you in college.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
the body wants you, it wants you to stop and feel that your
Yeah.
shoulder, feel
Wow.
your neck,
Mhm,
feel. And also the same thing with the image and the talk in the head.
mhm.
It wants you to look at it and observe it, process it beyond the level which we started on, which is the level of mastery of in time or real time subjective consciousness, in real time, being aware, being focused, being present, right? Beyond that, you're also trying to process things, right? And by that I mean the system. It's not you doing anything special. You just have to pay attention, and then things will be better. Like it doesn't. It's like
Wow.
magic.
So image part, so feeling it in your body, imagining it in your mind, and whatever you're telling yourself about it, talk it in your mind. It is trying to use those as tools to be present and to identify what it
Yes.
is
Yeah.
that's happening to
Exactly.
you.
That's
Okay.
very, very good, because basically what you're trying to do is be observant.
Mhm.
Observant of what? Observant of feelings, image, and talk. Well, why? Because that is the thing that gets you in trouble. That is the that is the load. In other words, no matter what's going on out in the world, your user interface can only represent to you feelings in the body, image in the head, and talk in the head. There is nothing else you experience, right? That's your subjective consciousness. So that is the way in which the load comes in, talking about stress now. And then you need to be able to observe it, which happens to be the magic of it, which we know intuitively because we've all know that when we are able to concentrate, pause, and observe, we A, create space, and then B, we dissolve away the deleterious effects of these particular drivers, desires, whatever they may be, right? The itches of the world that are forcing you to scratch or do this or do that. That basically these are the things that you're trying to master, but you use them as tools, right? I like that you said that, Suzette. You're using them as tools because one of the meditation techniques, for example, is to observe the feelings in your body, right? Observe the images in your head. So it's like if you want to learn how to, and the thing about it is, this analogy is a direct analogy all through the physical system. If you want to be better at lifting weight, you lift weight in a formal way, right? If you want to be better at, again, concentration, you use concentration formally in this way, and want to be concentrating on the thing that you want to concentrate on, right? If you want to, that's the whole point. In other words, it's not different from the things which the ways of developing skills which you're already aware of, whether it's reading something, because you want to be, familiarize yourself with it. So you basically, in a formal way, expose yourself to it, whether it's also exposure therapy, which is another manifestation of the same thing, where you're exposing yourself to what you're afraid of so that you can then get used to the manifestations in your body, the manifestations in the feelings, image, and the talk, right?
That is so deep. I'm just here listening. Oh my goodness. Do you want to respond?
He is hitting it right on the nail.
Ah,
And I'm curious because there's always a backstory. What led you to this? For me, it was a very dark time in my life, and I came out of it with these methods that you speak of. So what was the turning point for you with this?
good question.
Mm. Um, yeah, darkness has always hounded me. Hello, darkness, my old friend. The for well, I have always kind of played around in my head. This is, by the way, benefit of hindsight now. So if you ask me this question, I'm looking with the benefit of hindsight and haven't arranged certain narratives, and I think this is kind of how the thing happened, right? if that makes sense. So I think that when I look back, I noticed that I always used to do this thing when I was a kid. I would lay down and I could make the room feel like it was spinning. Okay. Now, it was just something that I could do. now I know what I was doing. It's a kind of a concentration technique, really. There's something that you're doing with the feeling in your body, and then you can start feeling like it's spinning. So because I've always done that, I think I've always just had like an interest in going in there and kind of just observing what consciousness is doing, if you will. And I also think that I have a little bit of a talent for it. Just put it that way, in the sense of natural personality disposition, particularly introspective, and then also being quite sensitive. I must have been, because I didn't even know what I was doing as a kid, but I was sensitive enough to go inside my head and make the room feel like it was spinning by just messing with my consciousness, right? So, but then having that kind of, and also I've always had a bookish disposition, so I'm studying everything, right? Listening to the weird Buddhist or crazy yoga or whomever is talking about. And Alan Watts, by the way, I don't know if he was one of the people who brought the whole Eastern tradition to the West in terms of popularizing it. People can check him out, Alan Watts, someone I was listening to back then when I was a kid. But I really never really quite, I wasn't able to really grab the meditation thing completely yet, like formally yet, until this Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you know who that is. I read
Yeah,
one.
Oprah made a big deal of him. She was
Okay.
Oprah book, but I'm not gonna lie. I started reading that book and I couldn't understand what it was saying, so I put it back
Which
down.
one did you?
We did a whole book club, a fake book
Well,
club. Everybody got there and was like, I didn't understand what it was. It was, and we just end up drinking and hanging out.
So and it's
A
one of those
New Earth.
characters, by
Oh
the
my
way.
God, a New World, a New Earth. Or
Yes,
something.
that one, A New Earth. It's one of those books where, by the way, it's not like it's some authors, they write intuitively. Friedrich Nietzsche was like this, where if you already gotta have come to the conclusions, and then you can read the book and be like, ha 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 ha, like,
Right.
but it's not explaining things to you. He's just kind of giving you like flashes of insight, which you already should have already known for you to appreciate the book. That's one of those types of things. But it clicked with me, and I really then started. And there's another guy called Krishnamurti and a guy called Shinzen Young that I also, I again, big consumer of media of all kinds. That's how I find all these people, right? So it's not like they're out there. I just kind of find them because I'm constantly just grabbing stuff. So with Shinzen Young's system is where I really was able to get into the meditation formally, because he explains it in a very rational, what I would call rational, modern language, materialistic in language, as opposed to, because I can do the woo from now till kingdom come, right? I can go woo and go that doesn't matter, right? But there are always levels and layers of explanation that have to be coherent, right? So I don't like a lot of the hippie nonsense, is what I'm saying. Basically, what I'm saying is the Deepak Chopras of the world. If you start talking about the quantum whatever, and all that kind of stuff, I'm just like, this doesn't do anything for me. Like, what capacity am I developing? So it's like, okay, cool. So it's concentration. And this is how it works. Cool. Because I know I can go in there and observe for myself. Like, okay, I can see, okay, cool. This has that effect. And then I can develop that way. So that's why I kind of explain it the way I explain it. I don't want to hear about chakras or nothing like that. Now, it's not because I don't know that in that other system, there's a certain set of coherence, but typically people are not intelligent enough to be able to make the translation to other people. They just say nonsense, and they say things to kind of blow your mind, as opposed to give you the one-to-one translations. Anyways,
you listen and you don't know what they said. Exactly. Yeah, no. Okay, so it was a natural curiosity from childhood and a natural propensity from childhood that led you down the path of I guess what great coach of the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson, would call as a seeker.
But I also couldn't live with myself. Let me put it that way. I'm putting it in stark terms because I never mentioned this part. So I'm like, I'm put in because there's always got to be some kind of a impetus, a pain. Otherwise, we tend not to do things.
Yeah.
So I needed to be able to manage myself, right? We spoke of the sources of the stress and the fact that I've always been a busybody, blah, blah, blah. So right from childhood, right? And all this kind of stuff. So when you have this much of an active inner life, if you will, and you're as weird as I am, you're going to have issues of all kinds.
You're not weird. Watch The Secret Lives of Nerds. You're not weird. It was a good show we just had last week.
I needed to manage myself. And I think that it was that point, and then with Eckhart Tolle and everything was like right in right after, like right around 2007 is
Mhm.
when things started to click in that way, where I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is how I deal with this crazy machine I've been handed or whatever. Right. So
Hmm. That is very compelling. I don't know. I
Interesting.
find I find that
Mhm.
people tend to blow things like this off because they don't take notes. You know,
but
if
it's
you were
also
to,
not easy. It's like the
Mhm.
gym, right? It's like because we're talking about developing capacities by formally training them, right? So it's literally the same thing, and people don't want to do that, whether it's
Mhm. Physically
reading
or
or
mentally, spiritually or otherwise, yeah.
whatever it may be.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So I have to grant them that look, it's not easy, and saying that is not to excuse or to say don't go do it. It's just saying that look, I know it's not easy and it's not supposed to be easy, but if you did take that breath with Suzette, and then you did notice that, and you did notice that it allowed you to gain some awareness as to what your body was doing right now, and you
Mhm.
saw how that was able to give you some space from the turmoil, the weather, the chaos, or whatever it was. You noticed that you perhaps were more stressed than you even realized, because you're like, I was really tense there and I didn't even know it, right? If you can see these things, well, then you can kind of like, okay, cool, at least I can let me say this, since it's like exercise, because it exactly is like that.
Mhm.
There are many, many ways to exercise. And not every, you don't, if you're not a cycling person, don't worry about it. Like we're over here saying do cardio, right? Let's just say that's what we're saying, right? And you could swim, you could jog, you could run, you could play tennis. Okay, if you like to do physical activities, you could cycle, you could row. So many ways, or you could just do like hot P90X yoga and work your shall we say your cardio that way. The same thing here with the development of concentration, right? I talked about that mental exercise, for example, or the breathing one, which is a very the first step, because it's the easiest access. There are many reasons why, many kind of nerdy reasons why the breathing is what it is, right? But that is another path you can take, right? You can use mantras. Okay, some people that's more their speed, or you can find guided meditation type stuff. That's more your speed. But you can use again the body, right, as a way of accessing. Which the breath is one of the easiest ways to do that. You breathe in, you concentrate on one side of your body. You breathe out, you concentrate on the other side. You're going through systematically counting and all that kind of stuff. Watching, your and as you concentrate on yourself, your sensory clarity increases. You start feeling things in your body you were not feeling like 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah, and which is a good thing, because this sensory clarity is what gives you that space. All of a sudden you're able to now, because you cannot manage what you cannot perceive or measure, right? We all know that. So how can you manage yourself if you cannot even, again, I was talking about dashboards, right? The dashboard with the gauges is what you're trying to get by using the body, using the image in the head, or using the talk in the head in many, many different kinds of systems, either external sounds or you listen for internal sounds. Another thing that I like to do is to listen to the tone of my ear, right? Which is just,
Wow,
there is a
y'all see, I
sound,
never did this ever. I'm gonna have to do this.
but there's a
Listen
sound
to
in
your
your ear,
body.
right?
I
Uh,
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to listen
yeah.
for
So you
it.
listen quiet, go get in a quiet place and listen. Underneath, after you're gonna make, if your head is loud that day, or there's music, whatever, underneath all that in your mind, right? There is just a simple tone. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, could be high pitch or low pitch, right? And the sound of that tone is a great index into certain physical things that are going on with you. Okay. And it's also
Mm.
a great way to kind of practice your concentration. I find it to be like, it's almost like a crazy reset. Like, if nothing, I can't do anything else, I'm like, okay, boom, I stop there and I go down and I'm listening to the tone. It's also a great way to actually actively listen to people, because if you can listen to that tone, you can hear everything, right? It is
Yes.
like the bass, it's like the white noise upon which the other sounds are written, if you will. So you're going to that white noise level, and everything else far and near you can hear. And what am I doing? I'm developing concentration, and I have to relax in order to hear that. And remember, we said concentration and relaxation is that zone thing, and that the zone is the opposite of stress, right? So we're dove into this thing in and
Wow.
out many different ways, and you see
Listen,
that
I'm
it.
like trying to figure out, okay,
Man.
because Dr. Thunder adds, I'm a musician and a woodwind player at that. In frequent practicing, there's an unending source of meditative opportunity. Absolutely. Because sometimes I find, especially I've had it in song, I can imagine when you play, Doc, it is like there's a point. If you are concentrating and relaxed, I never even thought of those words to apply to this. When you sing, or if you're singing for a spiritual, for me, uh, reason, there are times back. This is not now, y'all. In the day where I could sing, and it was like, again, I would call it a move of the Holy Spirit, but my voice, it was like my body knew what to do. I wasn't thinking about what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was much more like I was almost afraid because I was like, where am I going? Where am I going with this? I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Develop it. Have you had it's something that, again, as a performer, I also performance is a meditative experience if you really know what you're doing. And the reason why it necessarily is a meditative experience, okay, when it's done well, is because you're trying to be relaxed. Point of being, there is no good performance when you're not relaxed. By definition, like, I don't care whether you're acting or
That's
dancing.
so good. I never really thought of it like that. Wow.
There is, okay, imagine a speech or whatever it may be. Someone
You
goes up
try to
there and
think.
they're just stiff. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And it's not a question of seriousness or not serious or whatever. It's a question of relaxation, question of someone having control and composure, right? And by definition, whether you're doing stand-up comedy or giving a sales pitch, whatever it may be, you want to be the most relaxed person in the room. The most relaxed person in the room is the most influential person in the room, because you can go along. It's literally, it's hypnosis. Okay. I can hypnotize you because I'm relaxed. Okay. So, and it is something that I actively do. Okay. I actively do that. I am there hypnotizing the room when I'm giving a speech, right? By my stance, my breathing, my relaxation. They can sense it. They can feel.
I speak a lot of places. I never gave it that language.
But you know what I'm saying? That when you're
because I'm like, well, I do that too, but I never call it relaxation.
So it's like, but when you know these techniques for, like, listening to the sound of your ear, or this maybe little breathing techniques, or many different thousands of things you're gonna pick up as you do these practices, in the middle of that speech, you're doing these things.
Yeah.
And it's
but the energy is transferred. The energy is read, picked up on.
100%.
There's so much to that. Wow. Freeman's Journal wants to show you some love. It says, shout out to Ike. Get rid of the cortisol. Hallelujah. That belly fat is real, Doc. That belly fat, not only is it killing you, that belly fat hard to get off once you stress, bro.
Fasting, man. Fasting, by the way, what Dr. Thunder mentioned about fasting is a great one, because fasting, we think of food, and but taking a, shall we say, adrenaline fast, like fasting from your phone, in terms of dopamine fast, for example. The idea is you want to put the body through certain kinds of deprivation because it heightens feelings in you.
Yeah.
Right? And these feelings are going to be the tools, right, that you use to exercise. Okay? You're like, okay, hunger, come on, so that I can tussle with you. So that I can show you that you're not going to control me. And it's a great wrestling partner, hunger, let's say, right? You can have to now be concentrated and equanimous, right? The equanimity, the relaxation, in the face of hunger, and observe hunger happen rather than let hunger lead you to do anything. So the same thing with, leaving your phone alone, or whatever else it may be, whatever you're kind of fasting from. When you fast, you're going to activate feelings in the body, image in the head, and talk in the head, right? So this is and some people like to call it negative meditation, or you can induce the states in your body. You want to induce things. It's like carrying heavy weights, right? That's why, for example, fasting is a good technique for meditation, because it activates the weights of the feelings in the body more than it will ordinarily be, right? And then you have to sit there and watch and drink the water and do nothing else, and really, really watch how your body works vis-a-vis hunger, right? And this is a means of mastering, again, this meat vehicle via your subjective consciousness. That's all you're doing is feeling in the body, image in the head, and talk in the head. Whatever it throws at you, you try to observe it, and by observing, you create that separation again and again. We know the story by now, right? But fasting is a great way of inducing, a nice little storm for you to contend with.
I am so in a deep place, even just thinking about it. That's why I have to take my face off, because my face must be like like this. Shout out to Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth with Bernard S. What you just said is so deep and so profound. Um, mm, mm. There's so much there, guys. We're gonna run out of time because he has to go. But this is he got a whole kid and a baby and a family, so he's just here for a limited amount of time. We will definitely invite him back, but you can also just go over to Ike's channel. This is him all the time, from what I gather. This is his what should I say, vibration and how he thinks. I'm just curious. So if you wanted people, or if people were so curious, so I'm not going to assume everybody's in this zone. And again, thank you so much again to Freedman's Journal for that generosity in your super chat. But if someone was not this deep, right, and they were just starting out, and I'm glad you asked the question, Kanardak, where did it come from? What was the impetus? How do you get started? Usually it's a pain point. It makes you get kind of like still, like you got to figure out this hurt, and you have to figure out how you can manage it well. And then you start getting more and more tools to just apply that to your daily life. So I want to ask you, gentlemen, before we go, and the back is now closed. Last call, y'all. Where would one start? You start reading Buddha? Do you start reading Eckhart Tolle, which I don't, you know what? Years later, maybe I would understand Eckhart Tolle now. But when I first had it, I was like, this is a no. Where would one start? If you had maybe the top 3 things one could do, or people that they could learn from, where would you suggest one start? Because it sounds
go
like,
ahead,
again,
sir.
y'all both sound like years of practice. So I don't want people to watch this show as we kind of wind down here and get intimidated, because that's what I felt. I was just like, they so deep. Wow. I need my meditation don't even do like that. I'd fall asleep most of the time. I think even I will be incorporating more stretching because I just feel like my body is super tight at just working out, and you're not kind of letting it release. But that is an opportunity for meditation and finding flow, I think is what I would call it, which is to be focused, as you say, concentrate, as you say, both relax and absent from the other, thinking about other problems. That's really what I'm hearing, is like that peaceful state. Are you guys basically in that peaceful state every day for some portion of the day?
24/7.
24/7 for you, Kanardak? Y'all laugh. Dang, I'm just trying to ask a question. But I should have known. But you were in that state 24/7, because I'm like, it's hard to be in that state. So I can't even imagine.
So remember what I said about the state, and I said that it is the load and the carrier of the load. So when you put more load, you're going to need to have more of a structure, right? More of you better be on, on more on point, more discipline, right? So what for me slips is, let's say, discipline, right? Sometimes you've loaded up in terms of, okay, I'm doing all these different things and I'm super busy and I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. But then my discipline is not so strong, right? Then you will find that, oh, crap, like you have a day where, like I had, for example, in the past weekend, where you're just super tired. And is that a bad thing? No, it's just that, well, if I had organized my life a little better, in terms of the hydration and the sleeping and the stretching and blah, 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 in order to match the amount of load that I've taken on this month, then it would have been better. So the level of discipline does slip from time to time, right? I just, in the past couple of months, I lost about 30 pounds again, right? Because
What?
that's because why? Because I let myself go for a while, and then, well, I for me, 30 pounds is not a lot of weight because again, I'm a big person, right?
You
So,
tall. That's right. You six
yeah,
three. So you,
I'm
30 pounds
tall.
for you don't
So,
look crazy. Yeah.
but so luckily I could kind of carry it. But why was the 30 pounds there? It was because I was not as on point, right? So
Yeah.
I do slip in that regard.
All of us do. That's what Doc Thunder called asceticism. And I was looking up the word because I was like, let me make sure I understand it before I try to discuss it. Severe discipline and avoidance of all forms of indulgence, typically for religious reasons. Fasting. Okay, got it. That's the application. But anyway, as you were saying, so you lost back 30 pounds.
Yep. So,
Mm,
and the reason I went down that whole thing was, um, there is the subjective state, right? Which is you're calling that state of peace, which is I agree, 24/7 would be my answer there. Yes, right. But it's like I'm managing the storm, but this could have been a better storm, right? My body should not, my body can be in a better shape, right? So I'm adding this other dimension to it, which is the dimension which we started from. I said, hey, watch the engine of the car, make sure you're hydrated and you're this and you're stretching, all that kind of stuff. But then we went into the mastery of subjective consciousness part, which is, by the way, regardless of what the body's throwing at you, this is the way in which you can deal with it. Regardless of what state you are, regardless of
mm,
your diet or whatever, this is how you can deal with that. But also, you got to be making sure that you're not giving yourself stupid work to deal with, right? Like by
mm,
not
mm.
being as disciplined with the diet and the exercise and the stretching and whatnot. Did I mess up my? Anyways,
You
seems like I
good?
got out of.
I'll make the three of us. That's fine. It'll go back.
Okay,
There you
cool.
go.
Uh, back in focus, but make for remembering that there are two aspects here could perhaps give people two doors to come in with, right? Because maybe not the whole subject, because the subjective consciousness one I find is where people tend to be more like, I don't know, how can I do that? It seems more, but start by looking at your body as that engine, as which I was talking about, knowing that you're 100% or not 100%, like 70 something percent water. Okay, cool. So before X happens, let's say, but before you go eat something because you think you're hungry, start drinking water. Wake up and drink water. Those kinds of things. Those things will begin to increase your sensory clarity. You're going to start noticing, for example, the difference between being hydrated and not. And that is a level of sensory clarity, because again, there are three things, right? Concentration, sensory clarity, and equanimity. So now we're coming in by simply practicing certain things externally, we're going to start developing sensory clarity. And with that, okay, because once you've noticed it, you can't help but notice, right? And once you start noticing, then now you're creeping into this becoming more of getting into the mastery of the subjective end of things, if that makes sense. Basically, starting from the other end, getting this system down of like water and stretching and all that, you're going to start getting some more sensory clarity as to the workings of your body, if you will.
Oh, you're deep, bro. You're deep. I'm looking up the definitions that you're talking. Equanimity. I've heard the word before, but the definition given Oxford, mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. She accepted both the good and the bad with equanimity. That's a zen. And these brothers out here talking about they live like that. Okay. All right.
Well, if you want an addition to that, in terms of what I would say to start as well, is start small. You don't have to do it for a long time. You can start with 30 seconds if you want. 30 seconds of
Mm,
breathing can be just as potent as 45 minutes. And going back to his sound situation, which I've done as well, there's a thing called sound focusing where, have you seen the movie Tap with Gregory Hines?
have I seen that? I don't know if I've seen the ads for it or if I actually seen it. I don't think I've seen it.
Great movie. And at the beginning of the film,
Mhm,
Gregory Hines is in jail and he's hearing this water drop. Whoop,
mhm.
whoop. And he starts to form a beat out of that water drop and starts tap dancing to it. Excellent film. I saw that at age 13 and I said, wow, you can pull from your environment. You can use your environment to put you in that zen, for lack of a better expression. So when you go outside, focus on sound. He mentions the tone, your own tone, and how you have different levels to the tone. When you go outside and you sit on the porch or whatever, pick a sound. There's many to choose from and focus on that one sound for 30 seconds
Mm.
and then change it on round two and then change it again on round three. That's another way to improve your concentration too, because you're laser focused on the sound,
Wow.
one at a
One
time.
thing, guys, I am overwhelmed. I will be re-watching my own show just to make sure I caught everything. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Very deep conversation. Went in a whole different direction than I thought it would on stress management. But I hope everyone has learned something. I'm gonna let the gentleman get the final word in. But what have you guys learned? Drop it in the comments. If there's something that's gonna stick with you or something that you're going to try to apply. This is all about application. When we have these conversations, I really want y'all to think, focus on one thing tomorrow, one thing I can do differently. I can drink more water. I might do it tonight. I might stretch this evening because my body is telling me stretch, Sue, and I haven't done it yet. So I need to actually just grab that mat and go and try to get the muscles to loosen and the body to get what it needs at release. Um, whether it's the concentration piece, whatever it is that you can do it. But just I agree with that wholeheartedly, focusing on one thing, because this type of conversation will make you feel like, yo, these brothers so deep, I ain't never gonna get there. How the heck? I expect y'all to tell me who to read and go watch this on YouTube and go, I don't know. But it sounds like it's a practice thing. Practice. It's a muscle building thing. So whatever you have gained from this convo, apply that one thing. Apply that one thing. Kanadak, I'm gonna give you the last word, your last word here.
Well,
Yes,
thank you,
I think we
Suzette.
have 10 live
Oh,
streams that can, sorry, excuse me.
Mhm.
Quincy, I just read your Quincy has been dripping on. I love some of your comments tonight. But yeah, I think there are so many live streams within this live stream. We could go even deeper with it. But sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
No, you're
Kanadak.
fine. Thank you, Suzette, for having me. And Ike, keep doing what you do, man. This is you speak my language. I have tuned into your channel and I need to subscribe. I've been sort of a ninja watcher. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. But anyway,
Hit this up. Hit this
yes,
up. Go
I
over there and
shall. I
subscribe.
shall. I shall. But this whole idea of embracing your power and the things that I've mentioned when being on the panel in terms of you're more than you think you are, Ike is speaking tools that lead you to that. So go back and watch this because everything that he's mentioned in this particular episode, these are the tools: focusing, concentrating, embracing, being present.
Yeah.
It's gold.
I hear you. Oftentimes, Dr. Thunder adds, people give themselves an out by creating an expectation that expectations that are too lofty, a little bit at a time. I couldn't agree more. We've heard it. We've heard it. Kennard, thank you so much for coming in, adding. It's like that. This is my lane. He's like, I gotta come up and let y'all know. But thank you, my brother. Always great
Thank you.
seeing you. Thank you for coming up. You're always welcome up here. Take care. I
all right.
appreciate you. Good night, Kennard. I appreciate you again so much. Food for thought. And can I tell you, the reason I feel a little down sometimes when I do some deep conversations like last night and tonight, do you know I lose subscribers?
Really?
Isn't that the weirdest thing? Not that I be ninja watching other people and not subscribed. People watch you all the time. They don't have to be subscribed. But it's the funniest thing to me when I give people what I find to be good meat, intellectual discourse that really can change your life.
Mm.
I lose subscribers when I do it. But I know I always think to myself, tell myself, the right people will find you. And if this offends or does not, float their boat, I hear you. Thanks, Doc. Because I was like, is this me? He says, same here. Don't worry about that, Susan. I'd be like, dang, they don't want no food. They want entertainment. That's what they want. But we're trying to build lives here, Ike. We're trying to overcome generational challenges. We're trying to free people's souls. So thanks, Doc, for saying that. Because I was thought, is it me? I was like, I thought last night's show was the bomb. I think this show is the bomb. And the responses, I always check, make sure everything is on and good. And I'm looking like, okay, folks are very finicky, but it's not a bad thing. Because then you get to the pure, what should I say, aficionados for what you offer. So I'm grateful to hear that. Thanks, Doc. Oh, thanks, Big Bad Bull on the super. Yo, baby girl, you stream with Big Ike. OMG. I've got to catch the replay. Salute to Brother Ike. Thank you for the love, Big Bad But he's also, well, you're comparatively one of the busiest men on YouTube as well. I see you helping out other channels. I see you in the comments. Good to see you over here, brother. And thank you so much for your generosity and supporting my content. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And thanks for showing love to brother Ike. Yes, he's a heavyweight, clearly, and everybody can't rock with it. But it's all good. It's all good. We got to keep elevating our people. That's really what I want to do. So I'm gonna stay focused, y'all. And I know those who want this type of discourse will find it. And I appreciate you so much, Big Bad Bull. Always such a good brother. Always fascinating to see your commentary. And obviously, you help with moderating on so many different channels and stuff. So thank you. I appreciate your support tonight. So, Brother Ike, everybody just had to stop through. I'm seeing a lot of new faces, a lot of new folks in the comments here. And, you bring such gravitas when you come. And I'm grateful. Like I say, you're a heavyweight in this space. Just, again, a thinker, an enlightener. And any final tips, any final words of wisdom, even though you've already given us so much?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. Okay, it was a great conversation. I actually enjoyed it. The time flew by. We and I like that I didn't because I was like, I want to see where it would go, see where
We didn't plan.
where people. Yeah, I didn't want to. I generally don't like lists to begin with in terms of like, oh, here are some things because
Yeah,
I want to see
scripting
where
it. I
people
hate that.
are.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by stress? So I planned for an organic conversation, and I think that it was a great one. Then for final thoughts, I would say that one of the things to realize when it comes to any kind of starting any kind of discipline, in addition to all the things that have been mentioned, like by Dr. Thunder, with regards to having a uh, not setting these lofty goals, right? Starting small, um, and all those things. Another thing is you also sometimes have to figure out why you're not doing it. It's called the make a decision phase, which, by the way, us human beings tend to not realize that that's what's holding us back, is that we actually haven't decided to do this thing.
Mm.
Like, what does it mean to decide is something that everyone should think about. What does it mean to, because a lot of times people are like, well, how do I do this, how do I do that? It's like, look, when you're ready, there's all kinds of lists on Google about 5 steps to do this or 10 steps to do that. That's not the issue, right? So what I'm pushing back on, or not really pushing back on, but basically I'm saying that question you asked Suzette about,
Mm-hmm.
well, where do people start? That's
Mm-hmm.
never the problem.
Mm. Mm.
It's
Mm.
never where do I start. It's why haven't you started? And
Mm.
you have to stop and really at that phase. That's phase stage 1 or point 0. We tend not to understand that you have to make a decision. It's not just, oh, I haven't found the right list yet. It's like, no, 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 no. Trust me, that's not what's going on. You have to like be like, okay, why am I not doing this? Or why is this not a priority? What am I afraid of? You have to sell yourself into it, right? And then once you're there, then you'll find your way. You'll go to Pinterest or Instagram or whatever your speed is, and you'll start, right? But so always remember, it's not about where to start. It's like, well, why haven't I started? Ask yourself that question, make a decision, and then you can go from there.
You're gonna have me take this over to Patreon. I think I'm gonna do Patreon this Saturday, guys. But I have a whole different topic ready. But why haven't you started? Ooh, that's brother Ike. You got shows within shows right now, just in what you're saying in the wrap up. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I just want to acknowledge before we leave. Yes, Ebony X. Sunbreeze, you took the words right out of my mouth. I remembered I wanted to acknowledge her. Thank you for the last minute super chat right as we were leaving yesterday. I didn't get to acknowledge you. Thank you for your support so much, Ebony X. Thank you. Please, Team Replay, hit the like button. And same thing with you, Tolu, who says, I missed. It's all good. A lot of people going live tonight. And so, we'll catch the replay in. And I appreciate y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm tongue twisted. That's why I know that yawn when I close my eyes, Doc. I already knew. Ike, I was like, all right, this is not gonna be an all-nighter type situation. But Ike, I really, yay. Andrew said you guys were great, and I feel you. Thank you, TTOO. Please watch it. Yes, good vibes. They say, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. hit the like button, spam the comments. I'll leave it open for just a little bit before we head out. But Ike, you did a wonderful job. Thank you so much. And whenever I can return the favor, if you ever want a panelist, Sundays are tough for me, but I will definitely love to be on and support y'all. And again, give back what you've given so freely here tonight. So thank you guys for showing support, all of my super chatters, all of my cash appers, everybody who always showing love just by being here, watching and supporting the content, and for hitting the subscribe button. And even unsubscribe if your heart said, okay, it ain't what you want.
I subscribe.
Okay.
I subscribed today, and
You
I hit the bell
did?
button, and I hit all. So I'm like, oh, I'm not. I can't believe I'm not subscribed already. I'm like,
I know. Oh well, that's okay. That happens to me too. Sometimes I'm like, I love this person and I haven't been subscribed to them, but it happens. But the family will grow. The speaker's gonna grow, and I appreciate each and every one of you who are already a part of my tribe, for rocking with me. And again, you can email me. You can give me ideas for show topics. I'm wide open. Like I said, Saturday, y'all got to be here. We got Mandrell and Shushu coming to life proof, recession proof your life. Excuse me, not life proof. I won't be on Thursday. I will be doing a live political debate as a moderator. So I will drop the link in the community tab. And then Tuesday, Roxy Beckles, Roxy is coming through. She's a big time deal on YouTube and beyond. And I'm grateful that she said yes. And I'm glad that I can chit chat with her kind of like tonight. So I thank you, brother. I'll let you go. Have a great night. Thank you very much for being here.
all right, you're welcome. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine. And you guys, thanks for rocking with me again. I will see you guys not Thursday, but Saturday. Mandrell and Shushu coming through, talking a little recession proofing that we all need to do because it's coming. And then Tuesday, the 28th, I believe, Roxy Beckles will be live. Roxy Beckles is a fitness coach, champion in the fitness industry. She is amazing and significant following on YouTube. And she said yes. So I can't wait to have her on. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hit the like button before you go if you enjoyed. Show some love after the video. Go and comment below the video if you really enjoyed it so that other people might watch it. Again, special shout out to Ike for coming over and blessing us with his knowledge. I really, 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 yay, I'm having Roxy. Can you believe it, dog? Yes, Roxy's coming over. Roxy's gonna come to party. So yes, sweet dreams to all y'all. Much love to everybody in the chat. All of my moderators. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Sunbreeze. Thank you so much, RM. Y'all know, oh my goodness, I could not do this without y'all. Thank you, everybody who watched. Love the well, I appreciate it, brother. I was had a busy day, so y'all got a little bit more corporate today. Anyway, smash the like button before you leave. It was great seeing everyone. But not Thursday. Thursday, I'm doing political debate. Y'all might see this outfit. We'll see. Won't tell them. But I'll definitely see you Saturday and Tuesday for Roxy Beckles. Hit subscribe and the notification bell so you'll know when we're live. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you.